I need to understand that what I listen to, what I read, what I watch, what I'm around becomes who I am.
Hello and welcome to Center for Victory's podcast of your best day yet. At Center for Victory, we're here to help unlock, reinforce, and enrich relationships through personal and professional development. I'm Eric Guy, Chief Victory Officer at the Center for Victory. Today, very special guest, Tyler Joe Stratton. We're going to dig into some stuff. I'm really looking forward to this because I know Tyler. Actually, we met in the Grand Canyon. Amongst other things. Had a good time there, but it has just continued. Got to learn a little bit more about you, and you talk a lot about things that I talk about, just in a different angle. So I'm really looking forward to getting into this, and I'm actually going to let you talk about yourself a little bit. So what got you here? What do you do?
Yeah.
All that good stuff.
Sure.
So don't hold back, please.
Oh, man. I actually don't like talking about myself, but I appreciate you giving me this opportunity to be on your show today. I don't take that lightly. And, professionally, I work for One Team Media, and here I help produce communities online and help people find their target audience and speak to that very audience, because that's what I've been doing for the past 7 years is technically just talking to the old me, man. And I read something or heard something one time that just said, the person that you're supposed to serve is who you once were. And that was interesting concept for me, right? Because I didn't know who I was. So who I once was kind of blurry a little bit, right? But I grew up near State College in a small town, and it was I went to Penn State, graduated from Penn State University, and with a bachelor's degree in strategic communications and marketing. And outside of that, it's my life hasn't been too exciting. It's been more chaotic, and stumbling and tripping and falling and figuring it out, right? But that's what I love. I love figuring it out because I don't think there's been anything more defining than just feeling that, hey, I can figure this out. I have the confidence to figure this out. I've been here before, or even if I haven't, So outside of that, man, in the past 7 years, I've been really focusing in on my personal growth and development.
Right.
And that's what kicked me off to build the personal brand that I have today. And I am the founder of the Happy Heart Academy, which is a school online that people can enroll into to learn how to basically do the internal work so that they can create happiness within themselves. So they're not so dependent on someone else to find their own happiness, right? Because a lot of people find external temporary happiness, and that oftentimes causes them to lose themselves. So inside of that company was created for me. So if I ever find myself there again, I have the resources to dig me back out of it, right? But ultimately, that all started, it all started because of a book, and it was back in 2015 that I was just, dark place. Keep it simple. Like, I saw darkness, and I didn't see the end. They say there's a light at the end of the tunnel. There wasn't for me for a while. I don't know if it was by the, I think, grace of God that I was able to pull myself out of wherever I was, but it was through a book that changed my life. It was a personal development book. Now, Eric, I've never read. I couldn't read, write, or spell growing up. I was terrible in school, and I couldn't focus. I couldn't concentrate, always getting in trouble. Sports was my only saving grace and my coping mechanism for whatever I was going through, right? But schooling, man, wasn't my thing. And still to this day, it's still not my thing. But what is my thing was when I was at a crossroads back in 2015. And that crossroads, I didn't realize, but it was a defining moment of my life. I was standing on an edge of a bridge ready to take my life because I was in that dark of a place. Now, I can say that with like a little bit of a smile on my face because it was like many years ago, and I'm glad I didn't, because what I chose was, and it wasn't even, I think, me that chose it. Like, I was standing on top of a bridge behind my father's house, and it was a railroad track bridge, right? And it was high enough up to, like, I believed it would have, potentially caused, if not death, a lot of damage, right? But I didn't know how to escape the pain. But fortunately, what I saw through So if you're not familiar with like railroad tracks, they usually have a lot of rocks around the tracks, right? And through the rocks sprouted this like small tree. And I wasn't studying personal development, personal growth, but I was like, it just shocked me. Like, how is this thing surviving in this type of environment? And I don't know where that question came from, but it was enough to pull me out of that state to get down so close to that just one tree that was just barely sprouting, to be like, if God is willing to support this little piece of earth, I think I'm worth being supported too. So I stepped down and I talked to my brother about my experience because he was the only person I could turn to at the time. And man, he gave me a book. And that book, like I said, I never read, right? I wasn't a reader. And that book was called The Law of Success by Napoleon Hill. It's the 15 Laws of Success. He and I decided we should join, hands and read this book together, and let's finish it together, right? And that book, dude, changed my life. Like, significantly changed my life. Changed the degree of thought that I wasn't going to be some trailer park trash kind of white guy, like I grew up in a trailer park. That defined me for the longest time, right? My parents' success defined me, right? It created a reality that I wasn't looking forward to either. This book told me otherwise, saying that my future is really up to me. And I was like, whoa, I've never heard that philosophy before. What do you mean? So I studied that book, and it was like 350 some pages or 400 some pages, longest book. And man, I just knew after I read that book that one day I wanted to give back to the world what that book gave me. And I was like, 2015, I read that book. 2019, I was working for Google and I was going to school full time, Penn State. And I decided that I was being called to write a book. And my book called The Big Three, it's all about helping you build joyful and loving relationships with yourself, others, and God after you lose yourself. And the purpose of it was that the quality of life that I was living throughout my life, Eric, was directly reflected the relationships I had in my life. So if my relationships in my life were broken, I felt like a broken kid. Felt like a broken boy. It didn't matter how old I was. Like, I always felt broken because the relationships around me were always broken. And that messed with me. But when I realized that if I could improve my relationships, my life could improve, I started to do, from 2015 to 2019, nonstop studying, being between seminars, courses, counseling, therapy, working on myself, everything that I could absorb and just take in. You know what I'm talking about. If you're in a personal development, you just want all the knowledge, right? And you want all of the, new.
Still to this day.
Dude, I know. And it's addicting, right? We're hungry for that knowingness. And so I became just a fiend of just like working on myself, and I got addicted to improving parts of me, identifying problems that I had to fix those problems. And I like overcame those. And then I wrote a book, which then catapulted me into becoming a coach for others, right? It was I never even thought about being a personal coach. I was just like, I just want to be an author. Like, that'd be cool. And then that book started the kind of like snowball effect a little bit. And people started to ask me to get on, podcasts, and people then started to ask me to coach them, and people started to ask me, hey, do you have anything else that you can offer? And I created an online course, I created an online community, created the Happy Heart Academy from it. And it all started with a book, man. And if you were to tell me, prior to 2015 that books could change my life, I would laugh. I would like chuckle, and I would not even open a book. It doesn't matter if it was the Bible or if it was like, a 3-page book. I didn't want to read it. So it really is. It's been a phenomenal journey of overcoming adversity, overcoming obstacles, and just feeling proud of that I am capable and able to make it through those times. But it all stemmed from one book, and then me writing a book to then get me to where I currently am today. And I don't believe without the small influence that I think in my own mind that I have, that I wouldn't be here. I don't think that I would be here working for the amazing company that I work for, around the people that I do. Because, I have I don't know if it's a broken philosophy. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this, but I believe I only attract the people that are similar to me, not the people. So I attract what I am, not what I want most of the time. Like, that's my philosophy. And that's why I have these certain people around me, is because I got to keep upgrading myself in order to upgrade my community, which then if I can upgrade that community, man, my life has been upgraded. You know what I mean? So like, that's a little bit of the background story of like who I am, where I came from, and what I'm pursuing and doing now.
Yeah, I didn't know. So I'm over here kind of geeking out a little bit because I didn't know the whole high school thing with you and the book and all that. So my book was by Napoleon Hill. Was just Think and Grow Rich. Same situation,
dude.
So that's pretty cool, and I still have it.
What is that? Yeah, I have mine, dude. It's like it is like a relic to me, right? Like that book, like no one, dude. The original notes that I've taken, like I'm telling you, it's becoming one of those books that, dude, I just cherish, man, because, dude, when you're that lost, when you're that broken, to even potentially want to take the easy way out, like, man, to pull yourself out of that, like without anybody's help, and that was just because I read some words by a man, and that's a legacy, man. Yeah. Like that is super cool. Like he's well been gone, right?
Yeah.
But his words that he wrote in his own adversity and what he learned from many years of struggle to then help me, man, can't wait to thank him one day.
Yeah, that'd be that's pretty cool. So, and you have a strong. You kind of said this, but you didn't. But you do have a strong online presence.
Sure.
That you're all the time posting things and helping people out in that, and you're creating a lot of content, which I think is very valuable.
Thank you.
To folks as well. I really think it's, there's some age separation between you and I.
Sure.
Close to 2 generations actually. And my kind of look at things of when, being, having my background, doing therapy for the past, 25 plus years, I think this issue of where you were at on that bridge, it's becoming more prominent with people. I don't want to go down a rat hole and talk about the reasons for it. I just know that there are more people out there, and why I wanted to have you on, that are going through this now and need to hear it, because I don't think there's as much as support either because of just what's going on. There aren't as many people don't have the brother to lean on. They don't have the coach or the parent or whatever. Those things are getting minimized, and the bigger problems are coming, and it's just sometimes it's just easier just to.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like to say this, but dude, growing up, I watched my mom try to take her life 7 different times. Like literally having to call the police to assist her. Thank God she's never succeeded, but that, I believe, was built into me because of the repetition that I would see, that anytime that adversity would strike, she would find an easy way out. Okay. So when I was standing up there, there was a lot of pain that I'm like, well, people in my family have done it. Why can't I do it? Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be the first. Right. So it's like, it's kind of normal. And so I wasn't proud of that. I don't even like saying that. But when that type of repetition is like, oh, well, when things get hard, you either quit or hurt yourself. Why would I not? Right? Like, because it was, it really did start with just, I was just a heartbroken kid.
Yeah.
Because my home was broken, and I didn't get the emotional support that I needed because my parents were in survival mode themselves. Back then, dude, I mean, in the 90s, this wasn't being talked about.
Right.
They didn't know what, abuse was, or mental abuse, or fatigue. There's words just not used. People's awareness was very tiny compared to today. Now I think it's almost too aware, where we can self-diagnose anything, and it's like, oh, well, now I have this problem. And I'm like, so there's a balance there. But I love my parents for everything that they had to go through without the tools and getting through it, because they're both still alive. And, they're very loving and supporting now. And, they've worked through a lot, and this is without any personal development, self-help, audios, books, nothing. Like, it's on their own. Right. And that, man, that's a different level of like overcoming, because you don't have the help, and it's all like willpower and like the love of your kids. You know what I mean? So, I've talked to them multiple times through it, but like, I don't hold any grudges, because if it wasn't for that, man, I just don't know if I'd ever I don't think I would have found personal development. I don't think I would have found helping other people. I don't
Wouldn't
think
have been the push.
Yeah. Honestly, though, that's the truth. So it's cool that you share that, though, that Napoleon Hill has helped you as well.
Yeah.
With Think and Grow Rich, just amazing book. Bob Proctor, he studied the snots out of that thing.
Yeah.
I learned a lot from him as well. But man, that's cool that we have, and that's why I love podcasts, man, because you learn more about people, and you're like, oh, I see you and me and me and you. Like, it's just like, oh, that's really cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
so thanks for sharing that.
I was could not hardly read.
How did you get a hold of that book?
My dad had bought it, and it was just sitting around.
Think you ever read it?
I don't know. I don't think so. But,
you bought it for you,
but it was just, it happened to be there on the day I needed it.
Yeah,
and I never let it go.
Sure.
And I'm pretty sure I didn't ask him if I could take it. I just took it and started, and it was just so fascinating. And now, I mean, you think about that. Yours is going to age. Mine has aged, and the pages are like yellowish brown.
Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah,
that's a relic.
Yeah, it sits on my book. It's one that I will never throw away. But you talk about that, and I think the issue is, or the challenge is, how do you get through all that? Because you said earlier, with your social group or your reference group, you're really not what you want. You don't get what you want. You get who you are.
Yeah,
and that. Everybody has to go through that journey, hopefully. I've never wished anything like to your situation or my situation on anybody, but we all have stuff, and those challenges and setbacks for you. What do you think are some things that people need to hear that are listening and watching to this, the lessons that you learned from those difficult times?
Man, one thing that I think I learned the most is, like, if going through difficult times, some people like to stay stuck in that difficulty. So, like, this message, what I'm about to share, is not for everybody. Mm-hmm. Like, if you want to wallow in self-pity and prove that you're the victim, then what I'm about to share is not going to be helpful at all. But I was tired of suffering, and I hit rock bottom. But like, I was the type of person that needed to hit rock bottom before things changed. Like, I would cause myself so much internal suffering that there was only one way to go, because I couldn't go any lower. So it was to rebuild. Mm-hmm. But I was tired of hitting rock bottom. So what I learned realistically was that whenever I'm challenged, because believe me, there's been a lot more challenges prior to then, right? Or well after then, it's that you have to have a compelling, hope-filled future to pull you out of that. Because I don't believe that most people, stay stuck in their pain because they have nothing to look forward to. And everything that they believe that their happiness is found in the past. They're like, well, my best version of myself, everything that I am or was, is in the past. Like, if you're trying to move through those difficult times, it's going to be hard for you to move out of that when you have nothing to look forward to or walk toward. Right? Like, if you have no destination that excites you and brings you a sense of urgency and thrill, movement and excitement, vitality, aliveness, no wonder you're going to stay stuck. You have nothing to look. It's goal setting, right? Like, that's important. But like, I just think about, like, how can I reshape my current reality? Like, am I tired of feeling this way? Am I tired of living this way? Am I tired of experiencing these relationships or this just feeling of stuckness in the moments of my business? If so, dream bigger, and understand, then get yourself around. Once you start dreaming a little bit bigger, you'll start to unlock different questions, right? And listen to different things that I think God will work for you rather than against you. Because I felt that weight too. It's like, I feel like the universe, in my eyes, God was definitely working against me, right? Like, that's why I talk about in the book, the big three, the relationship with God too,
right? Because
I think he played an important role in all of the movement. But, I think that's the biggest lesson that I learned, that anytime, like, the first thing that I did when my wife's father passed away suddenly out of nowhere, I gave her a future to look forward to. Like, I just kept reminding her, like, there is a future after that event. Most people in those moments of, deciding factors, or those just troubling moments, right? Like, life stops and they stay there. That's like PTSD, would you say? Like, they just their life stops and they just keep revisiting it.
Stay in that trauma.
In that trauma, right? So it's like, I would stay there too if I just didn't think that life was worth living. So that's the biggest one. That was the biggest lesson. And then I think the second biggest lesson, man, is like, it's hard, especially when you're in that dark space. But like solitude and silence for me was huge. Like I kept trying to run into other people's arms to like take care of me, and their care was never enough. It was only distracting me from actually dealing with what I needed to deal with. So sitting in solitude and in silence and just allowing myself to honestly, if like feel whatever it is I was experiencing, rather than blocking it or trying to ignore it or try to trap it in. And because I've done that too. And that wasn't a fun way of living either. And I was exhausted constantly, like fatigued and irritable and moody. And I wasn't someone that I was proud to be. So like all of those things, I had to spend time with me to get to know me. Like, and and if I didn't like who I was meeting in the mirror, that was okay, because I knew that I could become someone better. Now, in that moments of embetterment, right, I just started to listen to people that I wanted to become like. Like, I couldn't think for myself, Eric. Like, there was no way that I could think positive thoughts on a daily. I was in that place. So if I couldn't do the thinking, I relied on other people to think for me. So I have multiple mentors in my head that are audio mentors that are constantly showing up in my head that I talk to on a daily basis. Like, how would these people show up and what would they say in this moment? I just look up to them because they helped me through those moments to help me reframe and work on my mind. Like, people need to understand that. I need to understand that what I listen to, what I read, what I watch, what I'm around becomes who I am. And if you don't like that reality, understand there's a new reality out there, and you're one audio away, one book away, one podcast away, one YouTube video away, one coach away from really changing a lot. Not everything, but just enough to bring you a sense of hope. Like, whoa, things are getting better. You know what I mean? So it's like it becomes really good. That's a little piece of advice there.
So anything like relationally, like advice for the folks listening, going through tough situations. You mentioned a little bit, but like relationally, what did you learn going through that? Or maybe even what are you looking forward to learning more of in the future? Like as far as relationships go.
Oh man, I'm really excited to learn more about unconditional love, to be honest with you. I've been with my wife now for 7 years, married for almost 2, and understanding unconditional love is something I'm excited for, and like unlocking greater levels of love within myself. Like, it's funny, we just talked about this last night. Like we're living the pretty typical life, right? Like, you get married, you get a dog, you get a house, like all of these things. Like it's like, of course we're doing that, right? But dude, I've experienced so much love for my dog that I never thought I could experience. And I was like, I don't know how my love can get any more, but I'm like, just wait till we have kids, honey. Like, I can't imagine the unconditional love that I'm going to experience. And I'm really excited for that. I'm excited for unity of within family. And like, I'm really excited to just continue to look past the things that challenge me to, easily not choose love, like, because that's marriage, man. That's relationships. There's a lot of things that you could really hone in on that make you almost fall out of love, throughout the years. But it's like, what does unconditional mean? And that's what I'm trying to figure out. And how do I love past that? And, so I'm excited about that. And just to continue to explore this life with my wife and share that with people, because I want to bring hope back to our generation that feel like marriage is a waste of time. I want to bring hope back to those young individuals like myself who are newly married to not give up so easily, and that the fight is well worth it. And the commitment and the certainty of, I posted this yesterday and it came to me. I said, and it caught a lot of like negative feedback in my community. I said, being single is not normal. And that really sparked a lot of people, but it's like, so here's the thought process, man. You being here did not happen by one person.
Right.
It's always been 2 people. Like, since the beginning of time, regardless of your beliefs, it always started with a pair. Okay. So like, we're not meant to stay single, regardless. We are tribal, right? We're a community people. What has happened is throughout society, we've learned to separate more and more and more and more, and we wonder why we're all so miserable and so self-centered and so selfish. Well, it's because you don't understand how community works. You don't know how to understand unity. You don't understand the dynamic of relationship. So, I think that if those are some of the things that I'm excited to talk about. That's, Honey, I'm Home, and really just helping individuals develop better marriages and better homes and better happiness within themselves, so that spreads throughout their home. And man, there's a lot that I'm looking forward to. That's that. I'm excited for One Team Media. Yeah. Like, relationally, like the people that I get to meet doing this with One Team Media has been incredible. It's to share other people's stories. As much as I'm having fun that I can share my story, I'm more interested in your story. Like, that's what I have a passion for, because in telling your story, you get so much from that too. And so does so many other people. Yeah. So to be able to, look forward to how many stories we're going to be able to share in this studio and to the world, and become one of those top dogs in the media industry that shares more of the truth and more of the light, to drown out the negativity. Man, that's something I'm excited for.
Good. And we're definitely hardwired to for relationship. All of us. Doesn't matter what your personality is. So I agree with that wholeheartedly. Yeah, our brains are hardwired for that.
That's how it works.
So the importance of you're a big celebrator. The importance for people, especially is, I see, I've even talked about it to my kids who aren't much younger than you, actually, about just celebrating those small successes. Like, I think there's a lot of things that you guys are comparing yourself to. And, I actually had this conversation the other day with my son. I just said, man, I wish I was doing as well as you're doing right now when I was your age, because I was just a hot mess. I mean, I was married at his age too. He married young as well.
Oh, wonderful.
But, discuss it a little bit of that. Tell us why it's important to celebrate those successes, be it big, small, regardless.
I think if you're not celebrating life on a daily, you're going to live a pretty miserable life. Like, my goal is happiness and fulfillment in this lifetime, and it's then to spread that in this lifetime. And if I am only chasing the big wins in life, I don't know if I'll ever be happy. So like the small wins, like I do allow myself to feel on a consistent basis. Like, there's not a day that doesn't go by that I don't practice like gratitude and being thankful for the smallest thing to the biggest thing, right? Because I was chasing all of the big things, but my internal peace was never there. When I started to slow down to like speed up and then understand that it's a process, I think, it depends. It might not be, you might be motivated by pain and misery, and still do good, right? That's not me, man. I'm not motivated by that. I'm motivated by just like feeling good as consistently as I can. And there's certain things that you can implement in your life. One, just simply being celebrating the wins, the small wins and the big wins. But I think the small wins are actually more important because it makes the big wins that much better. Right. So it's like the small wins, if you can find gratitude for just being able to breathe on your own, like that is huge. That's if you can actually allow yourself to not just think it, but actually feel it and marinate in that thought alone, that I don't have to think about my heart ticking right now and it's just ticking by itself and keeping me alive and knowing when to breathe or when to take my next breath without actually consciously thinking of that or having a machine hooked up to me, or, maybe I don't even need to go that far, but there's moments that and I kid you not, that I tell my wife laying in bed that I'm just grateful that we're in a warm home. Yeah. Like, I don't care what the home is. I'm just grateful that I'm not on the streets, or in a miserable place. Like, I'm sleeping in bed and I've got everything I need right here. There's nothing more fulfilling than finding fulfillment in the simple things in life, man. Like, because I think that life is supposed to be like simple. We just make it hard. I think life is supposed to be enjoyed. We just make it difficult.
Yeah, I would agree wholeheartedly with that.
Yeah, man. It's crazy, isn't it? We love the challenge, though. Like, we cause our own suffering. Yeah. But, like, what matters? Health, safety, right? And, like, family.
Yeah.
Outside of those three things, man, like, are you healthy? Yeah. Okay, well, you're on a good win. Do you have a place to live and stay to keep you safe? Yeah, you're winning. Do you have people that you love and adore? Yeah, you're winning. Like, if you can find happiness in that, man, I'm telling you, you're going to be a winner. because you can then always, that's your foundation. Everything else is extra. And the fact is like we live in a world right now, man, that is abundant. And if you can't see that right now, you've got to listen to some other people, because like we've been, we've been fighting wars and whatnot, but like the fact that we have freedom of to choose whether or not we want to go do whatever we want today without being worried that a bomb's going to drop on our head, or, like whatever it is, man, you got it pretty good. So like, I just like feeling good. So like, if you want to feel good, like celebrate the small wins, because that inevitably you'll start stacking those small wins, and eventually, because you attract what you are, not what you want, you'll attract those bigger wins that you eventually, just because you're in tune with those bigger wins, right? You're just in that, man, life is just supporting the heck out of me right now, offering me everything. So it's like, it's been very important for my happiness journey, man.
And I really think people your age and younger really need to hear that right now, because I think it's just, there's so much out there. I need to be doing this, that, or the other. And it's just like, hey, you've got a lot going on.
Too much, man. We've been, the internet's been great, but we have been, what I also don't like the internet's been great. The news has been great up until certain moments, but like, the news is boring when it comes only to only your region. But we get news all around the world, and we think we're living in a bad, like how many times have I heard, this has been a crazy awakening for me this year. I was like, I don't feel safe in where I live. I can't. And I'm like, that came on to me because I heard news across the globe. Well, of course, there's always something bad going on, right? But that doesn't mean something bad is going on in my own reality. So like, the news, social media has expanded our horizon, and it's hurt us because like there's always something better. There's always someone better. There's always someone better looking, healthier, happier, more successful. But if I boil it down to my community, which is always what we've ever done, was we're a tribal community, I'm doing pretty good. You're doing pretty good.
Yeah, we're all doing pretty good.
We're all doing pretty good. But when you compare to like someone that lives in Dubai that owns half of Dubai, man, I'm not doing really good. But dude, I've just started to like small in my world, and that amplified my happiness. And I kid you not, like it has changed the game for me. Disconnect, I always say it, but like in my community, I've had to disconnect in order to reconnect back to myself. Disconnect from all the distractions and all of the social media accounts. Like I'm on it constantly, but like once again, it's a different purpose why I'm on it. And then I just connect in my own world, and I'm like, man, the world's pretty good. I'm pretty happy. So, and it's genuine. You know what I mean? And that was hard for me because I faked it until I made it, right? Yeah. Of happiness. I wanted people to think that I'm happy. But now that I'm like just genuinely at peace with myself, and in no rush to only die, I think, man, life has been good, peaceful, because I'm just not in a hurry. And I'm like, I'm glad that there's people out there that allow me to see what's out there. Yeah. But just then it's like, I can work toward that. That could be that hope-filled future. Be like, that'd be cool to have one day or live that one day. But I don't make that my only like focus. All right. So you ready for more of a rapid fire round here? Hit me with it, man.
Before we get there, tell people so we don't forget. Tell people how to get in touch with you.
Sure. I'm at Tyler Joe Stratton everywhere. That's JOE. So Tyler Joe Stratton on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Threads, wherever. That's as simple as I can make it. So wherever you enjoy being, I enjoy being. So you can find me there.
All right. Sounds good. So favorite quote. You've given us some already. I think the first one that you gave us, pretty sure was out of your book.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, where have I heard that before?
Sure. Yeah, that would be it. Favorite quote right now. Dude, this is hard. I'm not entirely sure. I think it's probably, man, probably like, you remember the one, because I believe in it, and this is the quote that it helped like define where I was going, but just being the captain of your fate, right? So it's like you are the one that's in control of your future. So it'd be a quote about that. I don't really have a specific quote that I'm like studying or looking into, but being the captain of your fate, is probably something that resonates with me no matter where I'm at, because the future is as bright as I make it.
Okay, speaking of books, how we didn't like to read, and we like are junkies now to get into stuff and read, and just what are you reading right now that's got your attention?
Yeah, it's called Change the World, and that's been a huge one. And then the second book that I'm reading is The Body Keeps Score.
Yep.
That one is if you've dealt with any type of trauma, to understand trauma, and just like trying to readjust your nervous system. It's been incredible. So what I'm currently reading are those two books. But my all-time current book that I would recommend anybody start out with, regardless if you're in, just getting into it or a well-studied person, I would say it's probably The Power of Now, because I think that's what we need right now. So The Power of Now is really just helping you come back to the present moment, because they call the present for a reason. It's a gift, right? I'm sure you've heard that before. But that's what we're missing out on. And that's why too many people are anxious. That's why too many people are frustrated. That's why too many people are disconnected from themselves, and they live in, bad relationships because they're not living in this present moment to be able to sense the day, feel the day, enjoy the day. You're missing it because you're too far in the future or too far in the past. You're just never here. So The Power of Now is probably one of my top books that is really helping me to feel grounded.
All three good ones.
Yeah, man, they are. You've read them?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. What's your favorite daily habit for success?
To be honest with you, it's been meditation.
Okay.
Like, and when I say meditate, it can be as long as 20 minutes to as short as 5. Yeah. Only because I just feel like a sense of peace and collection there, and where I get clarity of thought. I don't think if I can't start my day with clarity of thought, like it's going to be a rough day for me, because I have strong ADHD, and it becomes like almost I beat myself up because of it. So meditation has been huge. And then last but not least, outside of meditation, has been like just setting the intention on what I would like to get done that day. There's nothing beautiful about it. It's just like, this would be cool, right? And it's like, I try to do my best to like, so that I don't have to keep thinking about what I have to do. I just can turn back to that and get it done, right? And if I do that, some days, man, feel even better walking into my house. Some days that I don't, I've learned to let go, like being like, it's all right, I have tomorrow. Hopefully, I have tomorrow. So yeah.
Okay, so how do you find your best day yet, both personally and professionally?
Professionally, my best day yet. Wow. That's professionally, man. It's to be able to simply serve other people and to leave this place feeling better than before I walked in. Like, if I can give anything, I just want to give you my energy and happiness. They say that sickness is contagious, but I asked myself the question, but can happiness be contagious too? Everyone's fearful of like someone sneezing on you and you're getting sick. Well, my health is contagious too. So I think that if I can leave this day professionally giving more than I've taken, that is a really good day for me. And then personally, dude, I think I just base everything off of my emotion, right? So like personally, what that looks like is I got to make sure that I felt like I was happy that day. Now, if you want I don't know if you're asking for like, what does that actually look like? Because I mean, it looks like waking up next to my beautiful wife and being able to just celebrate life with her, and then having a good cup of coffee, to journal, to meditate, to read, to then execute on a really good, personal achievement that I'm working toward, sitting down with someone, coaching with them. It looks like, podcasting, looks like I'm writing a new book. It looks like being able to enjoy walks with my dog and walks by myself, and then working out, and then eating healthy. It looks like that. That's what it looks like. But it's more of an emotion that I'm after, So if I can feel like I've served you and gave to you today, I felt like my life had meaning. And then if I felt because of that, I felt happy, dude, I'm living a life full of victory in my eyes.
Well, good. We'll cut it there, because I like
Sure.
I like how you ended that. So
Sure.
I appreciate it. I know this guy's going to be back. We've got a lot to talk about. I mean, we talk outside of here all the time as well. And I would love to have you back because we
Yes.
could just chat all day about things. And I think it's helpful. And I know it's helpful to the people that watch and listen here. So it's all for today, folks. Appreciate you tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, all that good stuff. You can visit us at centerforvictory.com. And just remember, wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, make this your best day yet. We'll see you soon.